Alright, guys, welcome back. Alright, we left off on page 27. Alright. Excuse me. He sat on the moonlight grass and thought, well, hot damn. How am I supposed to get through what feels like 10 inches of tampered steel? I've never phased through solid steel before. Definitely not going to try with that heavy gunnery on the other side. Then out of nowhere, he thought of his cousin stationed in Iraq. He was somewhat of an explosive expert. Explosives, that's it, he said excitedly. I get a couple pounds of C4 and we make big boom, he said, mocking the Russian contractor. The shadow stood up and hollered, brilliant, in his most evil, mad scientist voice he could muster. Then he became annoyed again. Oh yes, and then I have to worry about that stupid turrets and grenade launcher, he scorned. Why is every big gamer's favorite defense weapon a freaking grenade? I damn near hate grenades. A choice of cowards. Pull pin and throw. No skill, no talent. He calmed himself by taking a few breaths. Meh, I'll think of that barrier when I get to it. Page 28. Who is this guy, thing, creature? Robert said, not sure what to call the black creature standing outside. The security screen flickered as it fed live video from the completely concealed bulletproof gutter cameras. Even the small army of radical politicators only got to the front door. Even then, they couldn't drop any of my US Triple P guys. This guy comes in out of nowhere and drops everybody but Connor and Riley because, well, they're in here. He or it single-handedly brings down seasoned men and destroys my armored truck. And you're telling me you don't even have a name. Robert didn't even bother to try and keep his anger out of his voice. Sarah was built to learn actual intelligence as well as artificial intelligence. She was designed to feel like a human as well as be the bloodline that pumped through the house. She was designed to be a friend for Robert, as well as operate and control the defense systems and everyday items like doors and air conditioning. I'm sorry you are angry with me, Robert, the supercomputer said sincerely. If it makes you feel any better, Robert, since we went to Code Red, I've been searching the FBI, CIA, police, and Homeland Security criminal and terrorist database. This man, if it is a man, simply does not exist. I can't find a name, address, not even a social security number, she said sorrowfully. Some of these good men have been off the grid and even been called ghosts, but there's still a small trace of them. No matter how good and trained, there's always a trace, Sarah. No one can completely off-grid the system. By no one, you mean human, right, sir? Connor said softly. Yeah, yes, of course. What are you getting at, Connor? Sir, this can't be human. I've seen anything I've never seen anything withstand a clip from a 60 caliber anti-infantry machine gun. One of the 60s we had when I was stationed in Africa dropped a 400-pound rhino in full charge. That machine shreds trees like butter, and this thing is still breathing and standing upright like the bullets weren't even firing. The only thing I've seen hurt the only thing I've seen hurt it was the grenade launcher, Connor exclaimed. Sarah, open defense room weapons vault. Activate blast shields, Riley said. I don't think that's necessary, Riley, but okay, Sarah said. What Sarah had said was right. In order to give Kage his cloud of mystery, Emperor Raiden Lee went through extensive loops. He ordered the nurses and doctors at the hospital to not record Kanbei Helamakari's birth. No paperwork, no electronic files, not even as much as a photo. As far as the world was concerned, this little Japanese boy never existed. As far as the mythology, it started with the deserters who were able to flee from the combat zone in Japan. The deserters were honorably discharged with the medics described as severe PTSD. They figured the soldiers saw one of their comrades blow up or die in their arms and was just consumed with grief, sadness, and shock. Um, Poor souls must have seen some gruesome shit, the doctors said. The soldiers refused to go back into the combat zone when the general asked them to. When asked what happened, they shuddered and rocked back and forth. One said, So, so, so many bodies. It took so much blood. The other guy, Ronald Dragon, said, Our platoon was attacked by a creature the size of a boy. It it had it, it moved like a vampire. So many screams, so much blood. The doctors and the nurses are at the U.S. bases were puzzled. Their story made no sense. A vampire? Nonsense. Vampires did not exist. They must have been traumatized by the images of war and broke under the pressure. Damn shame, though, too. These two were a couple of our best. The general said as he signed the discharge papers. The legend of a Japanese superweapon began to slowly creep into the surrounding countries of Japan. Like fog, the myth grew into a murmur that whispered into campfires across the land. After the war was over, everyone who fancied in folklore heard of the legend of the Shino Kage, the childlike creature who had the speed of Ares, finished off nearly the entire American army. If the President of the United States did not pull out his army when he did, he probably wouldn't have had a Japan division to bring back. Into myth did the story of the child vampire vanish. Into legend did the child grow into a campfire story like Dracula and Chupacabra was it told. Till to this day, the Americans wonder sometimes what happened on that battlefield. What was this said beast? Was it a new war weapon robot? Was it really a vampire? No evidence was found. No clues, just questions and bewilderment and confused mystery. Shino Kage pulled out the burner phone. He dialed an overseas number. A man in his late 20s answered. Hello? Hey, cousin. Kambe here. Hi. How did you get this number, bro? Because I'm nice like that. Okay. Whatever. What's up? I'm on a job right now. Would you happen to be able to get me a high-grade plastic explosives that can get through? He tapped on the metal window. It made a bong sound. It sounds like 10 inches of solid steel, and it's a low-grade blast door. My guy, a freaking blast door? Where are you at? Contracted on a politic assassination. Some gang wanted him off for snooping. Shit. Okay. Give me 20 minutes and I'll have it for you. Thanks, man. After he hung up the phone, Shino Kage spent the next 20 minutes inventorying his remaining gear he brought with him and seeing what he could find on the guards' corpses. His cell phone rang. Hello? It's ready. My man. Okay, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Wait, what? You're in New York City. I'm almost halfway across the world in Iraq. Hello? Gifted cousin here. Ah, right, yeah. Okay. Well, I'll see you when you get here, I guess. He closed the phone and placed it back in his pocket. A sonic boom sliced through the air, and another sonic boom exploded as Shino Kage jetted across the Atlantic Ocean. Um, his cousin's name was Javier Mox. Javier was somewhat of an explosives expert. He concocted C4, plastic explosives, TNT, and any other devices that went kaboom out of scratch. They ranged anywhere 10 times up to 50 times more powerful than the manufactured military's mass products. Javier could build a bomb that could shoot through an armored tank. That would be a level 5 explosive. It ranged from level 1 to level 5, 1 being the weakest and 5 being the strongest charge mixture. On base, he was known as Clayman. Javier got up to the package. Excuse me. Javier got up to the package. Javier got up to package the pound of C4. A strong gust of wind blew in the Iraqi night. A small sandstorm kicked up as the sun beat heavily on the white tents. There stood Shino Kage. Whew! Lord Jesus. Iraq is a lot farther than I thought, and a hell of a lot hotter. Holy Mary! Half-drunk Javier unsheathed a Glock 9 Desert Limited Edition and swung around and pointed it at the man standing in there. He squinted his eyes. Kage? How? Oh, yeah. Just keep forgetting about that super speed thing. I mean, your super speed talent. Kage sniffed the air around his cousin. Whew! Have you been drinking? Yes. Bomb making is very tedious. And my higher up said I could, as long as I don't blow everyone up. It helps me think and focus. Okay. Whew. You smell like a brewery, man. Is that explosives ready? You know, I don't like these 5-minute visits. You come, you leave. Yep. They're too short. Yes, I have it. I'm kind of on the job. Can I get it then? They're on the counter. Give me a second. I'll put them in rubbers so they don't explode when you run. Kage waited for a few moments and then was given a wax-like rubber package. Thanks, cuz. Gotta run. Kage gave a Japanese goodbye to his cousin. He walked over and gave his cousin a light kiss on the right cheek. A gust of wind exploded and Kage was gone. You hellomakers are all crazy. You know that y'all are the nuts in our family. He shouted and hiccuped at the same time out of the tent into the open air. Back at the house of Robert Wilcock, the two bodyguards listened silently. Shh, listen. The gunfire stopped. Mr. Wilcox said. It's quiet now, Connor and Riley said. Mr. Wilcox looked nervously at the gun in his hand. Military-grade M16 assault rifle. Then said with a mixture of hope and denial. Do you think that maybe the... This is my wake-up alarm, sorry. Do you think maybe the truck 60 got him? The three of them began to play with the idea that just maybe, that just maybe they might make it out tonight. Maybe they might see daylight again. The moon peered down upon the house with a intensive silvery glare. Ooh. Okay. The crickets began to chirp. They began to drop their guard a little bit. All was silent. Sarah, activate outside cameras. Activating. Suddenly, a loud explosion sliced through the air, and the front door blew off its hinges with such force that it shook the entire house. Kaboom! Back door breached, redirecting turns. Oh, I'll botch that. I'm sorry. Anyway. Sarah exclaimed excitedly. Vaughn! Click, 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 click. The turret saw focused on the door, or what was left of the front door. So much for that theory. I have a feeling this intruder is not human, Riley said. Ew, why did I repeat myself? Storytelling is very difficult, but I'm slowly getting better. One moment. Okay. She hasn't done it yet. Okay. Sarah, activate blast shield in safe room, Connor commanded. Do you think that thing can get through the safe room vault door? Mr. Wilcock asked. I don't know. If he figures out how to get past the 60s and the grenades, then it'll be a matter of time before he figures out how to get in here. Blast shield's coming up, Sarah claimed. A large 20-inch thick sheet of metal extended out of the floor with slots to fire from. The last defense. Keep losing my spot. I'm sorry, guys. The back is starting to bother me. I am coming out with an official one, so it won't be as blotchy as this, but bear with me. Um. Oh, okay. This is the first time anybody's gotten this far into security, Mr. Wilcock said, concerned. Aha! Take that, blastors. The Black Shadow saw a storm of bullets. Holy crap! How many torrents do you have, my dude? Shino Kage went into ghost form by vibrating his molecule structure to supersonic speeds. Okay, let's see. What do we got here? 5 machine gun turrets and 1 grenade launcher. This must have cost you a fortune. The motion detectors on the guns told them to stop firing. Excuse me. The Shadow stepped into the house and walked toward the grenade launcher. He slowed his cells down long enough for the grenade launcher to recognize him. Tunk! The grenade launcher grunted as it spat out a pineapple grenade. The grenade sailed through the air. If he didn't time it correctly, it would hurt him severely. He waited a few precious milliseconds, then grabbed it out of the air. With the same motion, he did a sideways spin and chucked it into the turret closest to him. First turret down, said Sarah said sadly. Shortly after the supercomputer's words, there was a loud explosion as metal debris and shards flew into the air, some piercing the couch and others going into the kitchen. All right. 1 down, 5 to go, Kage said. Target detected. 4 turrets rotated towards him and began firing. The sound of wood breaking and splintering, and the sound of dishes shattering as the lead bullets ate the wood of the kitchen cabinets. I'm beginning to think that this defense system was a bad idea. Listen to all that expensive china breaking, Mr. Wilcox said. Riley and Connor gave a small chuckle. There's somebody in this house trying to kill him, and he's worried about the damn china. Riley looked at Connor and shook his head. You're something else, sir. There's literally an assassin in your living room, and you're worried about the china getting broken, Connor said. Well, yeah. That set of china is breaking right now. It's worth more than your salary as far as that assassin goes. We have enough weapons in this room to hold off a small army. Kage had half a block left. He hid behind a corner and pulled out a small knife. He carefully cut a sliver of the explosives and wrapped it around a shuriken. He lit it and flicked it into the second turret. Another explosion sounded. But something happened that he wasn't expecting. A shard of the second turret went into the pressurized air tank of the third turret. The gun and the launcher were spread out into a large diamond formation. They were spread out and enough to cover the entire house, but close enough that if something like this happened, that it would instantly disable the others. Robert, 3 of my turrets are down, Sarah said concerningly. Really? Mr. Wilcox, why do we need this much protection? There's only one of me. It's not like you gotta worry about every intruder being as unique as I am. Is he talking to himself? Robert asked. Yes, sir, but I believe it was directed at you, Riley said. Hidden mics and cameras were placed around the house. For police documentation of incidents, only 4 worked properly now. The others broke from the front door. Okay. From the front door breach. I know, I'm probably just the shadow stopped mid-sentence. Kage picked up a low hum and a clicking noise. He peeked his head around the corner of the hallway next to the living room. Kage quickly brought his head back around the corner. The shadow watched as 10 bullets flew by his head and shattered into the living room wall in front of him. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Why are we so desperate to off me? If you only knew how connected I was, I could probably be more useful to you as a one-man security team than your current security, that is. If you didn't have a hit on you, that is. But unfortunately, you do, the shadow said. I couldn't give a damn about your connections. And you take your offer and shove it down your throat, you freak, Robert said. Get him, Robert. Knowing the assassin couldn't hear him, the crickets began to chirp farther away in the tree line. A light gust gently blew through the gigantic hole where the front door used to be. Kage began to vibrate his atomic structure incredibly fast. His body started to go into ghost form, but failed and went back to normal density. I don't have the energy to stay in ghost form. Guess it's regular speed then. He took a deep breath and let the air out with a long sigh. Okay. Here we go. Kage rushed out from behind the wall. Kage ran down the hall. He got halfway and slid into a baseball slide. The gun sensed movement, but couldn't detect where it was coming from. The shadow was moving just under the speed of sound. Shink! The sound of the assassin's katana slicing through the thick rubber hose. He finished the slide. The machine gun spat a couple bullets, then choked and shut down. These brave men, page 35. These brave men died brutally by a ghost that should have never even existed. A myth like Bigfoot, a legend like the Loch Ness Monster. Rest in peace, war vets. Rest in peace. It was 11:30 p.m. Kage liked to play this game he invented. Whenever he was called out onto a contract, he would bring a digital stopwatch to see how fast and accurate he could be. Each new contract, he would try to best himself. Last contract took 4.5 hours. He had to off some prime minister like 300 guards. 1 hour so far. Kage smiled as he walked towards the house. Okay, let's see. The dossier says Mr. Wilcock has 10 elite guards, so that means it is only 2 should be left. Got it. An automated voice echoed through the rich neighborhood that was dead silent. Lockdown initiated. Sequence code 5959er Delta 925. Why do I keep repeating myself? It's like I wasn't paying attention when I was writing. I'm sorry. Hold on, I gotta skip that part. For my video audience, y'all gonna get the best book part that I didn't watch. So this is my first book. Okay, anyway. Who the hell is this guy? He dropped my guys like they were average Joe schmoes. Okay. Lock and load, boys. It's gonna be a bumpy night. Robert put this M16 back and grabbed a 6-shot grenade launcher. Good choice, sir. Connor said. Connor picked up a 16-shot automatic shotgun. Bradley picked up 2 Mach 12 machine guns. He also started loading his gun. Kage placed his hand on the top of the barrel and swung him himself onto the fourth 60 caliber machine gun. He slapped the first slice of the last half of the block of detonation clay around the opening of the barrel. He hopped off the gun and somersaulted over the 56. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. And somersaulted over to the fifth 60 near the living room. Quickly, he wrapped the clay around the hose that provided air into the engine for the machine to fire. Tunk! The grenade launcher spat a pineapple at him. No grenade launcher, you do not get to have any more fun. No. An explosion of wind suddenly knocked down a lamp. Kage ran outside and picked up an M16 off one of the guards' bodies and ran back inside. Hey, better. Hey, better. The shadow flipped the M16 rifle around where the butt was facing out. The grenade sailed through the air. Bottom of the ninth, Orioles are winning. Pitcher tosses the ball. The batter tenses up and looks at the swing. It's out of here! Home run! He smacked the grenade back into the kitchen. It hit the kitchen wall and exploded. Fragments of drywall, metal, and wood showered everywhere. Where the kitchen sink was now is a gaping hole to the outside. And now for our celebration, we should do the Swan dance. The shadow pressed a button on his utility belt. Suddenly the clay exploded, ripping a hole through the turret's metal bodies. Final act of defense. Yes, call the army. All became silent, but the silent cooing of the outside night animals. The shadow walked over to the couch and sat. Whew! I gotta learn to hold that form longer. Then. Kage threw a triumphant fist in the air as he fell back on the couch. Your assault team and that stupid crazy defense system was more energy than I meant to spend. Oh yeah. He's all he was all chilling on the couch. He's all like, oh. This is a very comfortable couch, Mr. Wilcock. Leather? A man rolling up in someone's house, laying on their couch. 45,000 lazy boy talking about, is this leather? Don't sit on my couch, damn it, like you're some invited guest over for tea. Ya damn American bastard. The mics are only one way, sir. I know that. 15 minutes passed and he sat up. All right, Mr. Wilcock. Whew. Thank you for that power nap. Is he still here? Yes, sir. I think he just took a nap on your couch. Oh, I'm sorry. Your attempt at killing me is making you tired. You damn supernatural prick. Robert said fiery. All right, what do you got to drink? Kage walked over to the fridge. Beer, cream soda, vodka, box of Pizza Hut pizza. Ugh. I suppose pizza will do. It's not sushi or calamari, but food's food, I guess. He placed the box on the counter and placed the beer bottle next to it. He took a bite of pizza. Ugh. I don't know, see how you Americans see in it. I don't see what you Americans see in it. Shinokage vibrated his throat. How incredibly distasteful. Ugh. For a few moments, he let his eyes wander the house. One of the this makes no sense. Um, for a few moments, he let his eyes wander the house. You have a very distinctive layout. I just realized that. The front door was behind him. Well, what was left of the front door anyway. Then there was the kitchen stainless steel appliances. Then it melted into the living room to the right of the kitchen. And then in the center was a staircase.